People who got fired for the stupidest reason. What happened? 1. I worked in a customer service call center for an insurance company. A customer called in and had a medical emergency, probably a heart attack, but I'm not sure, while I was on the phone with her. I used the phone in the empty cubicle next to me to call 911 and stayed on both lines to ensure that EMS got to her. I was fired because A, I took too long on calls already, and this was exceptionally long. B, I made an unauthorized outgoing call, and C, I gave the customer's personal information, name and address, to the 911 operator. 2. My first job ever was as a dishwasher. I was so proud. I was 18. Of course, my parents didn't believe me, so my mom called them and asked if it was true. They fired me that night because they felt I was unreliable. I have yet to let my folks live that one down. 3. During my senior year in high school, I was working at McDonald's. It was right after Christmas, and we were really busy. I'd been there 4 hours, had 2 to go, and was supposed to get a 30-minute break. Since we'd slowed down, I asked if I could have a break. The shift manager said no one was getting breaks. I said, "Thanks a lot." She told the assistant manager that I told her to F off. He fired me on the spot. Wouldn't even let me give my side of the story. A week later, I was working at Jack in the Box. I was a shift manager in 6 months, did that through a couple of years of college, dropped out, never wanted to go anyway, and moved up to assistant manager and then a couple of years later, general manager. I remembered how poorly I was treated at McDonald's and made sure I treated my employees well. Had the third lowest turnover rate in a 95 restaurant region, had the second highest average hourly pay, and number 2 in profit improvement. Take care of your people, and they'll do the same for you. 4. Accepted a job and notified them I would need X date off for my sister's wedding, 2 months after the start date. Came back from my sister's wedding, and all hell broke loose whilst I was gone. Not my responsibility, but my name was on some of the changes in the document. I was canned that day for not being there when they needed me. 5. I was fired for playing solitaire on my 15-minute break when I was working as a receptionist. The doctor who owned the clinic was dumb enough to put that as the reason in my termination letter. I collected unemployment after he tried to appeal it. They explained in great detail how stupid of a reason this was for termination. 6. The schedule was hanging off the wall, and it was magnetized. Everyone's names were little magnets. Someone knocked it off the wall, and I thought they put the magnets back in the right places. Naturally, I didn't show up for my shift. I was fired the next day, even after it came to light what happened, because I should know what my shifts were. 7. I got fired from Sonic when I told them I was no longer going to be available for last-minute call-ins because I'd gotten a second job. My boss was not happy because I lived the closest. So he stormed off and started screaming, "Guess this is your last day. I hope you're happy." I tried to clarify that I'd still be available for set shifts, I just wouldn't be on call anymore. He screamed at me to shut up. I hadn't clocked in yet, and I could sense a tantrum, so I asked if I should even bother clocking in. He threw a burger at me and told me to get out. So I did. They had a drive-through line wrapped around the building, and I was the only non-family employee on until 3. 8. I broke my hand and got fired for asking to take a day off to go to the doctor. I never called in there once in the 5 years I worked there. 9. I got a middle-level position at the company where they boasted about how family-oriented they are. They are the kind of company that has a small arcade, putt-putt, and ping-pong table and encouraged people to relax and play them. After a month of being there, I decided to play some coworkers in ping-pong since I'm pretty decent at it. The owner and his son ended up walking through the doors and seeing me playing. He challenged me. I played the son and absolutely demolished him. He got extremely upset and walked away after throwing the paddle at me. Later that week, I was fired for not fitting the culture. Cool. 10. I once worked for a small private school. A new supervisor was hired, and she called an after-hours meeting the Wednesday night right before Thanksgiving. One teacher didn't attend, and she was fired. When the new supervisor